Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to another great episode of the J Lounge. Of course, you guys know I am your hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson, here to bring you guys another great episode of the J Lounge. Of course, for those who don't know out there, the J Lounge is a celebrity based podcast show where we talk to celebrities about various topics and discussions. I am extremely honored and humbled to be able to speak with my next two guests. This is super exciting for me. These two ladies are the recipients of the Lorene Arbus Disability Awareness Grant. Grantees Awareness Awards awardees, and I'm super excited to be speaking with them. I have Miss Alyscia Cunningham. She's an amazing filmmaker, and I have Lisa Denker. She's also a really great filmmaker, and they'll be speaking with me today. I am super honored, ladies. Please please. I hope you guys have a great interview with me today. But everyone, please give a warm welcome to Alyscia Cunningham and Lisa Denker. Hi, ladies.
Hello, good
Hi, Simone.
morning.
How are you guys doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm super happy to be speaking with both of you guys today. The Lorene Arbus Disability highlights the disability community through film, and I'm super happy about that because I've had an actress who I've recently interviewed who has a disability, and she gave me one beautiful story, and I'm just super proud to be able to speak with her. So to be able to speak with you guys on one of the same topics is an honor for me.
Well, it's an honor to be here as well.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off and fire off the first question. The first question is gonna be for you, Miss Alyscia. What is it like to be the recipient of this amazing grant?
Well, that's an honor to be a recipient and to be recognized for the work that I have been passionately doing. So I was able to do the accessibility, which is audio description and captioning for my film, I Am More Than My Hair, which includes images and the stories of women who've experienced hair loss due to a health-related condition.
Mm-hmm.
But the accessibility part with the Lorene Arbus Disability Grant went to, I also created a exhibit that was accessible for people who have vision and hearing loss. So that's what it was recognized for, and I'm just honored to be able to have received the recognition, for that.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That is awesome. See, this is why I'm super humbled because that is incredible, and I thank you for being able to share that with me today. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. Lisa, Lisa, this is going to be the first question for you. I would like to know, how does it feel to be the recipient of the Lorene Arbus Disability Grant?
Yeah, good morning. Well, my film Still Judy has been in the making for many years. And it was in 2020 when I did a big push to apply to many grants again. And this film, being a portrait of a woman, has never been really in fashion of documentary genres that sort of become the trends of what funders are looking for to support. So it had been a while, it's just, so to receive this grant is one great support push. It's an honor. And it's the only grant that I found that specifically focuses on disability. And the main character of Still Judy, Judy Finelli, has been living with multiple sclerosis for over 30 years. And is living her life in a wheelchair. And so the film is multifaceted, but it's just an honor. And the additional audio description asset that Michelle Spitz, her company, Women of Her Word, has also granted along with the NIWIFT Lorene Arbus grant is just a huge bonus, especially for getting the film out to a larger audience.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I'm happy that, something like this exists, because I do believe there needs to be more representation and more visibility for people with disability. They need to be seen, they need to be heard, and their stories definitely need to be seen and heard more. And I'm glad we are creating a space for that. And we have you ladies who are also help creating a space for that and creating films that, help create space, people with disability, and I really appreciate both of you for doing that.
Thank you for recognizing.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
of course. All right, Miss Alyscia, I'm going to come back around with you for the number 2 question. What began your passion for filmmaking?
Oh wow, I actually just fell into it, to be honest. I went to school for photography. Fell in love with photography. I love portraiture. So I like people, so I like to connect with people and hearing their stories. And initially, I was working on. So I Am More Than My Hair is a book. It started off as a book, but it evolved into a film. Not what I didn't plan for it to. I was. I'm always thinking of marketing, so I was taking footage of the women in the book, and I figured I would use it as marketing for my social media, and then also for crowdfunding campaigns when I was doing fundraising. And I took it to Docs in Progress, which is a local nonprofit organization here for local documentary filmmakers, and they were having a trailer night where anyone filmmaker can submit their trailer up to footage up to 5 minutes to get feedback from the audience. And my intention was to go there, get feedback for what I'll be using as marketing for my book. And the audience pretty much convinced me before I left that this should be a film. And they don't know why I'm just doing it as marketing. So it was really that conversation that started my. I always loved documentaries. I'm very passionate about documentaries and horror, actually, those two. And so I decided that I was going to just figure it out from there. I don't have my background isn't filmmaking, and I just kind of ran with it. And I really feel like looking back, had I known what it takes to go into filmmaking and the expense, and not just jumped and just did it, I don't know if I might have questioned. I might not have gone through with it, but I'm glad that I just kind of just jumped in and just worked on and figured it out from there.
Oh, absolutely. And I have to say, I do love documentaries too. Over the past year, during the pandemic, man, that's all I pretty much have watched over the year is documentaries.
Yes.
I am becoming quite obsessed. I know I'm driving my family crazy because they're like, let's watch Mortal Kombat, let's watch
Right.
King Kong. I'm like, let's watch my documentary.
Right. Yes, my children like, well, not a documentary.
I feel like such a black sheep. It's like I've just
Right.
become such obsessed because it's like, when I was younger, I was like, documentaries are a little boring. But now that I'm older and I can finally have the sense and can really understand the developments of
Right.
documentary, it's like that's all I want to watch. I don't want to watch anything else.
Yes, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel. I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah.
All right, Lisa, the same question I have for Miss Alyscia, I have for you. What began your passion for filmmaking?
Wow. Well, long ago. I mean, I really have loved film for a long time, and I did grow up in LA, out in the outskirts, in the suburbs. But I at a certain point went and took filmmaking classes at LA City College and made films on Super 8 medium. It was a total turn on. I loved making, I still love that format, that ancient format of non-sync sound. But I did that. I went back to school later, again at Art Center College of Design. After, I went straight into working in the industry and worked in the film industry in the art department, and worked on a lot of features, non-union first, and then gradually made it into working on some union films. And then many years later, having always loved documentary, was able to start working in documentary. It just kind of grew from there.
Absolutely. And that's amazing. I was actually hoping to one day myself go to college for filmmaking and stuff like that, because I have a community college that does arts and films, and I actually attended like a couple of classes. Unfortunately, I didn't major it as I hoped I was going to, but I really did enjoy it. I really feel like more people should take, classes in arts and films, just because being able to speak to other people about the same passion and about the same love for movies, it just kind of opens your eyes to different storytelling.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. So going on to the number 3 question, this is for both of you ladies as well. Alyscia, I'm going to start with you. As a filmmaker, what stories do you hope to continue to tell?
Oh well, my my plan is to continue with documentaries. I love it. So I actually watch documentaries from a little girl. It's always been an interest to me to hear true stories. And because I also have a love for horror, and I love true story horror films. I'm actually working on a horror short with the Summer Film Lab with Women of Color filmmakers.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, I'm actually in the pre-production phase now to start post-production in 2 weeks, and then have it, finished to submit by July 1st. And then the online film, the virtual film screening is July 10th with Women of Color filmmakers. So I plan to continue in that direction. We're still with books, documentaries connected to the books, and then horror. I know that's two separate ends of the spectrum, but it is. I love those genres.
And I think that's awesome. I honestly do. We definitely need, for me, I think we definitely need more women of color in horror, because we
Yes.
can dominate it when we can,
Right.
when we were in that space. So, I mean, could
Right.
I be speaking to the next Jordan Peele here? I mean,
Right.
I'd be honored. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I
Right.
happen to speak things into my existence in my podcast, and it happens. So,
Yeah, because that's exactly who I want to connect with. Jordan Peele and Issa Rae is my, like, who is my, I'm visualizing as connecting for this like partnership with horror film.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The world wouldn't be ready, but the world would be ready. Do you know what I mean? At
Yes,
the same time,
right.
it's a tug of
Yes.
war. The world could
Right.
be ready, but the world wouldn't be ready. That
Right.
would be,
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
speaking that into existence, world.
Yes.
Issa Rae,
Right.
Jordan Peele, if you're listening, I got
Right.
an amazing new filmmaker that would love to connect with y'all.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Ms. Lisa, the same question for you as a filmmaker. What stories do you hope to continue to tell?
Well, it's a little hard to even think about that. I'm trying to finish this film. I'm in post-production. So I'm under the fog and the stress of all these phases to go through. And I just can't wait to get this film out. Really, that's my priority right now. But I really love portrait films. I think if I do a portrait film again, note to self, I think I would want to lean towards a short, honestly, because this has been a long haul, and I think I'd like to give myself a little more time, maybe time of not spending on a film, because they really take a long time and they're hard to fund. But I love day in the life films, and that's why I say short film, because some of my projects really started out as that, as wanting to follow a day in the life. I love that format. But I'm also very interested in other subjects, and there are other ideas floating in my mind. Some of them more local community here where I live, and involving with environment and water. And I don't know if I'll take a leap into a whole nother area of film, but yeah, I am excited to move on to,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Portrait films are great. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of short films myself. I always scout the website Short Film of the Week or Film Shortage, because, always produce really great short films. Are you hoping to maybe one day continue more short films as your career continues to go?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility. I think, one part of making feature length docs, and especially the one I'm on, it involves a lot of archive. And that is an area that can really create, well, it increases the budget just immediately. And it's just a huge amount of work. And I think the reason why I'm right now thinking how nice it would be just to do day in the life and follow camera and not so much filling in of past or interior mind or whatever it is you're also adding into the threads of the film. So that just sounds very refreshing to me right now.
No, it does. It does. It does. You're definitely your film's got a poetic, feel to it. Like you said, uh, that portrait style filmmaking. And so I really hope that not only do you continue to make short films, but you continue to make those PRI films, those day in the life films, because I like those types of films as well. They're just kind of a joy to watch. They're just refreshing. It's different. It's no, big production. It's a quiet, potent films, and I hope you continue to make those. So, um, so going on to the number 4 question, Alyscia, you're also an award-winning author. Can you tell us about some of the books you have written?
Yes. So my first book, Feminine Transitions, I actually did that in response to me really being um, frustrated with the way that the media was portraying women, particularly photographers. And that came off of a conversation. I was doing a portfolio review with a female photographer, and she looked at a portrait that I took of a pregnant woman who was pregnant with twins at that time. A beautiful black and white, and I have an ankh shaded on her belly. And she said to me, "Wow, you have a really nice eye. Your photography is beautiful, but you should never show a pregnant woman a picture of her stomach without photoshopping the stretch marks." And I was confused by her response, and I asked her, "Why would you say that?" And her response was, "Because it's ugly." So that's why photographers use Photoshop. And I left there feeling like, if this is what photography has come to, I want nothing to do with it. Um, and I did put my camera down for a while, and then afterwards I was like, you know what? I had to kind of like talk it out with myself. Instead of being so pissed that I've just put the camera down, why don't I pick the camera up and do something different? So I decided to do a project with all women. So it was 6 weeks. I was the youngest model to 103 was the oldest. And the requirement was there had to be no makeup, no accessories, no wigs, no hair pieces, and no Photoshop. So I wanted to prove that raw beauty is beautiful and that we are perfectly imperfect just as we are. So I did that one. That was the first photography book, and then I had everyone write their own quote. And then I Am More Than My Hair really also came from me being mad at people responding to me cutting my hair. When I did a big chop, and the proceeds were going to the medical treatment of cancer for women of color. And so for me, that was a no-brainer to cut my hair. It'll grow back. And I heard, not only did I hear a lot of Bible verses about a woman not having hair and how it's her beauty and her strength, and I completely disagree. It is beautiful because I love my hair, but I don't feel like anyone's worth should be based off of their outer appearance, including hair. So in response to the naysayers, I decided I was going to create a book, I Am More Than My Hair, to prove that we don't need hair to be beautiful. And really that was going towards either if you lost your hair, which is alopecia, which means hair loss, and that can be for any medical reason, or if you just chose to do it, like to do a big chop and just shave your hair off. It's completely up to you. And then I did a few, I co-authored a few books, or I was a contributor to poetry, because I always love poems, and activism within the arts. But that's pretty much it. And I'm working on my third as well. I'm in the funding phase of that one, which is Seeing Without Sight. So that will be a film and a book. I'm still actually trying to figure out if I just want this to be a film or is it going to be both a book and a film, a two-part, which is women who have lost the sense of sight, and how we can see beauty through their senses and not with our eyes. So
I completely and totally relate to your story there, Alyscia. I've definitely been, judged harshly on my creativity just based on my appearance alone, just based on my hair.
Right.
My hair's not, straight enough. My hair's not curly enough. My hair's
Right.
not, thin enough, or, I totally get it. So I'm so glad you made a book like that. I feel like, it definitely, I'm hoping young women especially grab that book and read it, because we're more than our outer appearance. We are human beings. We're souls. We are multi-layered people with, we're, the best way I can describe it is that, we're onions. We have different layers. You peel one layer, there's another layer there.
Right.
So I'm super happy that you made a book like that, because I completely relate to it. Just, I'm almost getting emotional because I know exactly what you mean. Just being turned down basically just because my hair.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah. I didn't realize how serious it was until actually starting this book, and then hearing the stories, and even women who have lived with the shame of losing their hair, and their partners that they've been with for years don't know, their friends don't know. And it's like, trying to like break that shame, and just loving our hair, whether, with all the textures that it is, and whether you have it or not, so it's just like proving my point through the book. And that was the hope, there.
Oh, like I said, I'm super glad you wrote that book. And like I said, I just feel I know what you mean, man. It's like I just been turned down so many creatively
Yes.
just because
Right.
of I don't look the part,
Yes.
and it's I used to be like, okay, so should I just change the way I look, or should I just shave my hair? Like, what should
Right.
I do? Eventually,
Right.
I actually did cut off my hair, but to make a more of a statement,
Oh,
just
right.
to say, this is who I am with or without. Because I used to have
Right.
super long hair. If you ladies saw my hair now and then saw my hair back then, you'd be like, whoa, what a difference.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
I appreciate you writing a book like that, and I hope you actually turn I Am Not My Hair into like maybe a poetic style film, because I think that would be really powerful.
Oh, wow. That's a good idea. Thank you.
I'm just gonna throw that out there for you.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Ah, going on to the number 5, and Lisa, I'm gonna ask you this question. What are some of the most difficult aspects of being a filmmaker, and what are some of the most greatest aspects of being a filmmaker?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, what comes to mind really, the second part is that, I mean, it's an honor for someone to let you in and allow you to take on, in this case, to tell a life story. And it's but it has a flip side, and it's a lot to carry, and it's a lot of responsibility. So, I mean, it's a gift, it's phenomenal, it's a precious thing. And I take it really seriously in that the portrayal, it has to be right. And maybe that's why it takes me so long to make a film, to get it right. But like I said, there's also a lot of stress with that too. There's a lot of responsibility. But there's nuts and bolts, hard parts of filmmaking. Funding definitely is numero uno. Wish it was easier to fund films, but it's not. And the funding trends change over time.
Mm-hmm.
And grantors open and close funding, and it really is hard, and that's hard going. But yeah, that's what comes to mind.
But like, I have to say, you said it takes you a while to make a film, but to me that's a true artist. You're just making sure everything is right, and then you're making sure that the film flows as well as swimmingly as possible. So that to me is just a mind and work of a really true artist. So um but yeah, I definitely have to agree with that. Definitely aspects can be challenging, but it seems like you managed to make it through, because here you are, grantee of the Lorraine Arbus Disability Grant. So
Yeah,
I really appreciate your work.
thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Alyscia, the same question to you. What would you say is the most difficult and most rewarding aspects of being a filmmaker?
So I have to agree with Lisa on that. The funding is always a challenge, but it has also been, I think the consistency is what actually breaks through the funding part. Because I think what I've learned is, because this has been 5 years working on I'm More Than My, actually no, this is so 20 started in 2015, so this is going on, and I finally finished. Yeah, it was 5 years. I finished it in 2020, and then the accessible version I did afterwards, and that was finished at the end of last year in December. And it was, so piece by piece, I had to learn that I wouldn't get all the funding all at one time, so I had to start off with just like learning how to be creative along with the challenges of not having the funding as I had hoped to have it all at one time, and seeing people that did have crowdfunding campaigns and they raised over 200,000, and I'm like, how in the world they do that? Actually, so I did reach out and figure out, to have these. I started reaching out to all these campaign organizers, and I just wanted to know, like, how'd you do it? And they were all pretty much saying the same thing. They had a team, and I didn't have a team. So I had to figure out ways of how to be creative on how to raise funds, and that means like I had to plant seeds all over. So I would have house parties, like viewing parties where people would come. I would make food. My background is Trinidadian, so I would make curry and roti and rice and peas and have alcohol, and like wine, beer, and people would gladly donate. That was one, and I did that maybe like about 4 times. I also was able to get funding from the Arts and Humanities Council, my local in Montgomery County here. I reached out for as many. I got a lot of feedback, which was important because I learned why I wasn't getting funding initially, and so I was reaching out to these grant organizers, the directors of the grant organizations, to give me feedback on my proposal, and then the feedback really helped me to fine tune my proposal to see, okay, now I realize why I wasn't getting funding, and then after fine tuning it, I realized I started getting more opportunities for funding, and I realized that it was my wording that I wasn't getting feedback on before. So I was submitting and not really realizing that I was excluding certain things from it. And then I did crowdfunding. I tried that on multiple platforms. And then I also reached out to, I have a fiscal sponsor which is Women in Film and Video. And with fiscal sponsorship, you're able to get funding as a nonprofit. And I was able to reach out to foundations to get funding as well. So it was really a part of feeling that the challenge was learning to be creative in the funding opportunities. And there's a lot out there once you actually start looking for it. But it's time, it's not, nothing comes easy. My family always said that to me. And great things take time. And the same as Lisa, I'm an artist as well. So I want it to be done right. And in order for it to have been done right, like it just needed this time to be able to for it to be able to come into existence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And thank you for being honest for the crowdfunding, because I did crowdfunding a couple of years ago, and I just thought I was going to be the easiest thing in the world. I just I did. I had that attitude. I was like, okay, I'm just going to post on my social media, just crowdfunding and all that kind of stuff, and I should get, thousands of thousands. Yeah. Reality. The reality is a lot harder.
Right. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, I was like, oh, wait, I can't flash my pretty smile and just get thousands of dollars? No?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right. And all of a sudden the family and friends that you feel like that you think they would donate, it's like crickets, or people start avoiding you. Yeah.
It's like, here comes the excuse. Well, the bills due. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Yes, right. Yeah.
So thank you for being honest about the crowdfunding thing, because I know some people who haven't really done it before, but probably, hear people doing it. It's not as easy as Alyscia just said. It is a full-time job. So just be forewarned.
Yeah.
All right. Going on to the number 6 question. This question is going to start with you first, Lisa. I want to make sure my audience keeps up with you and your amazing work. Where are you on social media?
Well, there is a website, stilljudy.com. That's STILL Judy JUDY.com. And there is a Facebook page.
Ooh, yes. So everyone, please follow Lisa. Make sure you guys check out her work and just give her all her support. Same question goes to you, Alyscia. Where are you on social media? Because I want to make sure my audience keeps up with you and all of your work.
Yes. So Alyscia.com is my website. That's my first name, ALYSCIA.com, and I'm on social media as Alyscia Cunningham, on pretty much most of LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. They can find me in my name.
All right, everyone, you heard that. Make sure you follow Alyscia. Make sure you give her support, follow her work, and just make sure you keep up with everything that she's doing, because these ladies are incredible, and you guys definitely need to keep up to date with their work. All right, going on to the number 7 question. They're going for you, Miss Lisa. I I know you said you are still focusing on your film that just came out. But I wanted to know, can you talk a little bit about some of the future projects you are involved with that you can give a little bit dish about to the J Lounge?
Some of my future projects?
Please.
Well, I mean, I'm not currently working on another film right now. All my focus is on getting this film through post. But in my life, I'm very connected to where I am, and I think I hinted about possibly doing something more environmental, but I'm pretty sure that would still involve a portrait film, because I seem to be kind of locked into this type of film. But I live in a very, I'm just so fortunate. I live on the bay on the Morro Bay estuary in Central California. And since I've been living here, I see how much it's changing year by year. And I'm very interested in that. And I think that leads me into a lot of my outside of film activities, which I'm very community involved in a lot of issues. And that's where I think, will there be an intersection of that interest into a film? And I think I would like that to happen, but I don't currently have a project that I can just spell out in a log line to you right now.
That's all right. That is all right. But I do highly encourage everyone to make sure they do check out your film, Still Judy. And if you are getting involved in any projects, please give the updates to the J Lounge, because of course we would love to keep updated with your work, Miss Lisa.
Oh yeah, thank you. I will.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, Miss Alyscia, the same question goes to you. Any future projects that you can just give a little bit of dish about to the J Lounge audience?
Yes, so I am. I'm doing the short horror film that I mentioned before, with the Summer Film Lab with women of color filmmakers. So it's titled Annexation, and it's based off of a true story, but then I kind of flipped it to make it a little fiction afterwards about an alien invasion. And it's I'm in the pre-production of it now. This is my first time actually working with actors. And thankfully I had, and they're all volunteer, because there's no funding for this. This is just something that I'm doing for the challenge. And the director of the Women of Color Filmmakers just created this as a way just to keep women of color in the film industry just active, especially during COVID when there's not much work out there. So I'm happy. I'm excited about this, and I'm also still in the fundraising phase of, so this is still pre-production, and I'm in the research of Seeing Without Sight, which is a documentary about women who have experienced vision loss, and how we can see beauty through their sense of seeing beauty, which is without using a sense of sight, and just kind of like thinking outside the box of how we can visualize beauty beyond our eyes.
Yes,
Yes.
amen to that. That is because I just said my love for documentary films has grown over the years. That is
Yes.
a documentary film that I will be more than happy to check out, and of course, I highly encourage my audience to check that out too as soon as it's available, ready to see. Because yes, I do believe we need more documentaries, just films in general, about kind of breaking down our beauty of our standards of beauty. Honestly,
Right. Yes. Right.
It's, there's just too much different beauty around us for us to not see
Exactly.
that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Rather than just be confined to this one box of what beauty should look like. It's so much more than that. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I really feel appreciative what you guys do. You guys show different representation on screen, and it shows that beauty of just because you have a disability does not mean you're any less. You are still just as powerful,
Right.
still just as multi-layered, still just as a complex and compelling as any other human being.
Right.
And so this is why I think I really appreciate you guys in your work, and I'm super honored and happy to be able to speak to two recipients of such an amazing grant. So it's just an honor.
Thank you. Thank you so much
Oh,
for
thank
having us
you.
here.
Of course.
Yes, thank you for this.
Absolutely. It's honestly my honor, honestly, ladies. It really is to be able to do this. This is why I do this, to be able to speak with incredible people like you. And, it's not to be biased out there, y'all, but the fact that I'm speaking to two amazing women continue to inspire me because I want to be able to inspire people just like how their work has inspired me. So I just want you ladies to know that.
Oh,
So,
thank
for sure.
you.
Of course. I just got a couple more questions for you ladies, going on to the number 8. So I know, like I said, I know this grant is a huge highlight for both of you guys. But I just want to start out. Um, what other highlights in your guys' careers can you guys share with the J Lounge audience? Miss Lisa, we'll start with you.
Oh, overall career. Well, with a previous film, Heart of the Sea, Kapolio Kaeu Kai in Hawaiian, that was a portrait of Hawaiian legend Rel Sun.
Yes.
And it aired on Independent Lens and many moons ago. And that experience, there were some just precious moments, especially when the film was done and we screened it in Hawaii. And there was some very special screenings, taking the film back to Rel Sun's community. And there was a beach screening in Waikiki. I mean, there was nothing better than that. Yeah, I mean, film is, there's a beautiful part of getting a film out into the world, and often there are moments during screenings and certain audiences that are so incredibly appreciative, or a letter or an email that you receive that is partly why you do it, and a huge part of why you do it. I mean, the whole time you're working on it, you're imagining this audience or audiences out there and how they need to see this. And when it does happen, that's good. That is, that's what comes to mind right now with that question.
And that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful, and I love
I mean,
it.
I would like to add one thing about
Of
it.
course,
And
of
this is
course.
really new, having spoken with Michelle Spitz about audio description. This is a whole new thing for me. And from what she's told me, once my film has these accessibility assets attached to it, it is my responsibility when I submit it to festivals or any distribution to really impress upon them that those assets are there. They have to be promoted every step of the way. And it's so important. I mean, our country, we have 25% of our population is disabled. And that is an audience that this film should see. I mean, that is a huge part of who this film. I mean, I always had thought it was, the film is sort of multifaceted because it weaves the highly physical world of the circus arts in Judy's life and also disability. And it's all within her single life story. So when pitching this film, especially to funders, I would often talk about two niche audiences: people interested in subject matter of living with life-threatening illness, and then the circus arts community. But it's much bigger than that. This is going to be a really important part of distribution.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's getting back to this grant and why this grant is so special.
Yes. Yes, and I completely agree with you. I do. And I highly encourage my audience, if you have not seen Still Judy, please go see this film. It is a documentary film. It is beautiful, it's potent, and like Judy said, like Judy, Still Judy is just a film that needs to be seen. Like Lisa just said, 25% of our population is disability, and Hollywood, let's be honest, doesn't really like to make films for people with disability. If they do, they're used as props. So to be able to see an important document film like this, and to just see, like Lisa said, the multifaceted, complex layers of this film is really important. So, and this is why this grant is really important to show films like this. So I appreciate you, Ms. Lisa.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Alyscia, the same question goes for you. I know winning this grant is a huge highlight career, but what are other some highlights in your careers that you are happy and to be able to share with the J Lounge?
Yes, I would say the recent production of the exhibit that I was recently able to launch at Sandy Spring Museum, which is a local museum here in Montgomery County. And it has been a year of working on creating an accessible exhibit and figuring out the pieces, meaning accessible for people with visual and hearing loss, as well as anyone who's in a wheelchair, so that it can be reached from the and seen through the perspective of or the height of a wheelchair.
Mhm.
I didn't realize. So when I initially started looking for ways to make it accessible, I thought it was something that was already that was like pretty prominent, that was being done. And it was through the process of starting and looking for this and putting the pieces together that I realized that it's just not there. And what I was creating was something that other artists have created sparingly, and I realized why there hasn't been a lot of it, because I'm thinking about the cost to create accessibility is something that I feel would be where someone might an artist might say, okay, well, forget it, I'm not doing it. Um, and that's because with photography, so what I was able to do was take my prints, my photographs, and turn it into 3D so it can be felt for someone who can't see, but you can feel it. Um, and then include audio description with the picture, so you can hear it, the description of what the picture looks like. The audio describes the woman in the picture, where she is, what the scene looks like, and then you hear. I got the participants to tell the story. So, and then she will say, for example, Judy tells her story, and then you hear Judy tell the story. And then I also have audio pens which can be hovered over there's a code within a card, the card for each image in the exhibit, that you can hear the story, and then you can see the story that's right next to the picture. And then I also have Braille. So putting all these pieces together, there is one company that does 3D embossing of images. You can also do it for painting, that I learned. But their fee was about $110,000. So it was a journey just trying to figure this out. And thankfully, it was a conversation that I went to with the National Federation of the Blind in Baltimore chapter back in 2019, and they were talking about the challenges of not being included in the experience of art. So that actually led me to say, okay, you know what? Now that I know this, leaving it, I feel obligated to do it.
Mhm.
But in the process of figuring it out, I realized that it's a lot of there's a lot that's just not there,
Mhm.
So I had to figure the pieces out and put it together on my own, and thankfully I was able to connect with the audio describer and the one who does a discovery pen, and she's also an audio describer and captioning, to create an accessible film, and then the exhibit that's there now until September 5th. But I'm proud of that. I'm very excited and honored to be able to provide this exhibit for everyone to be able to experience, so no one's left out of the experience.
And I think that's awesome. That's what
Wow.
we need
Sounds
more,
great.
more inclusive. Yeah, more
Yes.
inclusivity. And I'm super happy that, like I said, I would like to for one day. I would love to visit that exhibit myself one day.
Yes, I love you too.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
an uncle who is in a wheelchair, and I know he would enjoy something like that because he's always wanting to see more inclusive, people be more inclusive for people with disabilities. So
Yes.
an exhibit like that, I think that would blow his mind because I don't think he would. I don't think he thinks he would live long enough to see something like that. So for
Oh
him to
wow.
experience something like that would just it would, I think, would totally change his world, honestly, for the best. So
Oh yeah. That's exactly what I want. I wanted to be able to kind of to change the perspective, and then also look at it for other artists and museums to see what's possible. Because I
yeah.
was able to hire I wasn't able to afford the $110,000, but so I had to end up creating these light panels myself to put it together, and I hired a 3D printing company, so they just printed it's called a lithophan. So they printed the print for me as a 3D relief. So it's really like showing the artists and museums or galleries how they can also create a space to make it accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's important, and it's very, very
Yes.
important. So I'm super glad. Like like I said, I hope to one day to experience that exhibit. That would be great. Once that exhibit is finally open, I hope you have a grand premiere. I hope it's just as incredible. So because it definitely needs to be seen in grand scale. So for sure.
Thank you. Oh, and it is open now. It opened March 19th, and it's until September 5th.
Oh yes, so I hope
Yeah,
everyone
very
goes
good.
and checks it
Yes.
out because it's important. It's very important. I hope maybe I'll get my uncle, maybe I'll get him to look up some tickets, and maybe we can go one day. I'm hoping, so that would be
Okay.
awesome.
Right.
I would
Okay.
enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right, going up to the last two questions that we got here. Going on to number 9, Lisa, I'm gonna start with you. What are some of your passions outside of your respected career?
Oh, well, I like biking, I paddle, I do garden design and gardening and aesthetic pruning, and I enjoy being out in the world, in natural places too. I love architecture and design. Yeah, I have a lot of interests. I keep feeding them as much as I can, along with working on a film.
That's awesome. I definitely can see that you're a very artistic soul, and I definitely love those types of souls. Because I'm not very creative, so hearing somebody else be so creative and so expressive about their creativity, I love it. So I can definitely tell that you have a very creative, artistic. It's where it's where your blood is, where your passion is. So I can see it, and I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely. Alyscia, same question for you. Out of your respected career, what are some of your other passions?
So I just like to travel. And then also and sometimes that just means going for hikes. I'm a hiker as well. So I like to go out and just be in a space where there are no cars and not too many people, and not where it's too overcrowded, like, when you go to a city. Um, and just to be able to enjoy that space where I'm just amongst the trees and the natural, the birds and all the animals that's out there, and fresh air. So I do that. I do my best to do that as often, maybe like once a month, where I either go by myself, where it's not too secluded. I don't do the secluded trails. Uh,
Smart. Neither do
yes,
I. Neither
right.
do I.
And then also, or I go with my family. So being able to, my daughters actually, they love going hiking with me as well. So I also take them often with me. And I just like to do, even if it's a small trip, sometimes it might just be a day trip. But just go for example, to go to the Eastern Shore and go and do a visit, or there might be an event of the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad Museum, or just to go and maybe just go to New York. Not right now, since the pandemic, it hasn't been too much traveling, but I just I enjoy spontaneity, and I enjoy nature. So that's my piece, to be around water or go to the beach and to go and hiking, and that's and to be with my family as well. I have my times when I want to be alone, so they know on Sundays that's my day. I go jogging or I will go for a hike, and then sometimes I might invite them out to come with me as well. But then also to be able to have that time with my family. So it's important to have both of those.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I like to hike too, but I'm with you. I stay in the trails that are filled with people. We don't do the
Yes.
secluded trails. I don't do
Oh,
that.
right.
I'm
That's
not
right.
taking the chance of getting lost. So
Exactly. Right.
I need to see people within a 5-mile radius. If I don't, there's
Right. Yeah, I've seen enough
oh.
documentaries on how that goes wrong.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So have I. So have I. And
Right.
I
Yeah.
have to do agree. It is good to have some spontaneity,
Yeah.
being spontaneous every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's why I think both your guys' personalities, you got the creative and you got the spontaneous. I feel like those are two people you definitely need in your life, just because it just makes life in the world definitely more round. So
Yes.
Definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, coming up to the final question. Miss Lisa, this one's going towards you. What goals do you hope to continue to accomplish in your career?
Well, you know, I'm so once again, I'm so focused on this film, and I think that I really hope to get it out to a wide audience. I think it is a film that really is a wide audience, and it has a lot of niche audiences also. And I mean, it's all I can think about right now. I think that is my numero uno goal, to get this film out and get it received, you know, and seen.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and what comes of that for me personally
Mhm.
is a gift, is just a bonus and a gift. I'm not really thinking like that right now. I'm thinking about Judy's story, and it's so precious, and it's precious in that she really, without giving it all away, exemplifies someone who, with extreme challenges, has always been able to come back and find fresh new meaning and move forward. And I just think that it's a film that's got to be out there, and people's got to see it. We all experience that. I think people are going to enjoy seeing how Judy's done it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's understandable. And like I said, that's just spoken of a true artist. You know, you're not thinking the accolades, just thinking about the story and just getting it out there as to many people as possible. I hope, you know, as many people as possible go see it. But I do hope, the awards. I hope they do take notice of this potent film, and I really do hope that one day, maybe Miss Lisa, we can see you walk on that stage, maybe get an Oscar for being able to present a film like this. I'm just saying, ladies took home the Oscars law last night. Just saying, glass ceilings were broken. So
That's right.
she said that's right.
Well,
So I'm
lately, there's been some phenomenal things happening in the last.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely hoping that for you. Like I said, I've had guests on my show. They were Oscar nominated when they were on my show. Then after my show, they went on the Oscars and they won it. So I'm just saying, speaking some good fruitions. I got two incredible filmmakers. So I'm hoping that is one day in your guys' future, because you guys definitely deserve it. So I'm going to speak that into fruition for you guys.
Yes, I love that.
I love that.
Yeah, bring it on. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Absolutely. And Alyscia, the same question goes for you. What goals do you hope to accomplish and to continue to accomplish in your career?
For me, it's still about what's important is creating an impact that, like the visual, and also now I've actually gone into the world of tactile art as well. Is to create an impact where it can change perspectives. So when I worked on projects, it's always, in my mind, is always like, how am I creating shifting mindsets, so that people can see things differently, in a positive way. And so even with the documentary, and then now even with horror, what's important to me with the horror film is, because we don't often see films with people of color in horror, and if they are, it's so ridiculous to me that it's still happening, but the black person always dies first, and it's like a consistent thing in horror films, right? And then if there are black people in the film, most often they are either light skinned or they're mixed, and I want to be able to shift that. So that's actually what I'm doing. I want to make sure that it is women of color that are the lead in the film, particularly dark-skinned women, because they often don't get roles, and that they're not damsels in distress, that they're actually able to hold their own and do what they need to do to survive whatever the situation is. So I'm looking forward to that horror aspect and shifting that, also that the mindset there, that we don't always need, I mean, help is great, and I'm not saying that we don't need it, but also that that we have the power within us to be able to help ourselves out of a situation, and to make sure that that women of color are the main focus in the film, and we're not dying first. So I want to continue with that.
No, I agree. I agree. And I have to say, I do believe that, we definitely need to create more space for women in horror film. I am a horror fanatic, and I love a good old classic, slasher film, but I also do like my horror films that are intelligent, that have an intelligent feel to them, that are
Yes.
have layers that are complex. Jordan Peele, he really did a great job with Get Out, creating that.
Yes.
So I definitely feel like we definitely need more of that. And I just need, I just want to see more horror films told through, a female gaze.
Yes.
I've seen it through the male,
Yeah.
like all my entire life. And
Right.
don't get me wrong, got some great horror films,
Right.
but it's time to see a shift, something different.
I agree.
And, horror doesn't always have to be just, about the scare factor.
Right.
You can, it can be psychological, it can be
Yes.
emotional,
Mhm.
however you want to interpret it, but it just got to be something a little different.
Yes.
And I do believe a shift is taking place. And I think that more women are definitely taking, the seat and taking over horror films and even action films. And
Right.
so I'm happy that you want to continue that, because we definitely need more of that. And you're right. I want to see, I want to see, an African American, be the hero of a horror film, which I haven't seen yet. So it's possible, and I would love to see it. So I hope you continue to fight for that and continue to make that stride and continue to create that space for yourself. So because it's needed. It will continue to cause a ripple effect where more women will take, the helm in horror films. So thank you for being one of them.
Yes, thank you. And putting things out into existence. Jordan Peele and Issa Rae are listening. I'm looking forward to them creating a workshop space to have mentorship or fellowship for women in the horror film.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I have to say, it has been beyond a pleasure to be able to speak with you two ladies, to have you guys on here. Like I said, I'm going to speak to existence that, more opportunities, more of a stage will be happening for you guys to show your work. And I am going to say this, I hope you guys do get, swept up in award seasons, because your guys' films are definitely award worthy. And like I said, Glass Ceilings was broken last night in the Oscars. I'm going to speak it into the existence, because people who've been on my show have gone on to the Oscars. We got 2 next nominees right here in the future, right here. Gonna speak that out right now. 2 future nominees for the Oscars, Miss Lisa and Miss Alyscia. I'm speaking into existence right now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thanks for all your support.
Yes.
Nice to hear. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys for giving me the honor to speak with you guys. I know that my audience will definitely show you guys support, and will show you guys some love. I know they will check out your films as well, Still Judy. At least I really hope people check that out, because it is a beautiful, potent film. And the styling, the way it's been told, definitely needs to be seen by a whole worldwide audience. And I'm sure they will flock to it. So.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely.
Alyscia, your work sounds absolutely incredible. You sound like a Renaissance woman.
Doesn't she? I love it.
You're working in so many different formats, but worlds of art and now narrative feature.
Thank you.
I mean, come on, I love it.
Thank you.
And your articulation of talking about your projects is really a gift. It comes at you. You're presenting everything beautifully. I'm honored to be here today with you. So,
thank you.
I can't wait to see your work, because I haven't seen any of your work, and I want to see your work.
Oh, well, thank you. And same for you as well. Because I know when I was looking at as well, and I know the NIWIFT was the first off the Lorraine Arbus Disability Awareness Grant, but the fact that you are also the winner of the grant, that speaks multitudes of what you're doing. And I actually look forward to seeing it. And I'm honored to be here with you as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can I
Thank
just
you,
say that I love seeing women support women. It was a beautiful thing. Always such a
Yes,
beautiful thing.
it
That
is.
was awesome,
Yeah.
ladies. You
Yes,
two
thank
are
you.
amazing. And that was just a great thing to hear. I always just love seeing women support women because when we do, we accomplish and do great things. We create more spaces and we break more glass ceilings. So
Yes, we
here's
do.
to that for y'all. And here's, more to come in you guys' careers.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
so
Simone.
much.
Of
Really
course.
appreciate it.
Of course, of course. I'm going to encourage my audience one more time. Make sure you guys support, follow, and show some love to Alyscia Denker and Alyscia Cunningham, these two amazing, incredible filmmakers, and of course, recipients of the Lorraine Arbus Disability Grant. They deserve so much recognition and attention. So, like I said, I'm speaking to existence. These two will be nominees for more awards in the future. And the fact that they build each other up and support each other, how could they not, take over the world one day? So, so here's to that. So I appreciate you ladies for joining me and for giving me this honor. I haven't stopped smiling since the interview began. Let's just get it. So.
Well, thank you again. Thank you again for having us.
Thanks so much.
Of course, you guys know I've been your hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson, and I will be back with another great episode of the J Lounge. Of course, I'm going to thank my two incredible guests one more time, and make sure you guys give them all the support. But until then, till another great episode, I hope everyone has a beautiful morning out there. I'll be back soon with another great episode. This is Miss J, and we are over and out. Bye.